I'm joined now by the co-host of Pod Save America and the former communications director for Barack Obama, Dan Pfeiffer. Dan, thanks for joining me.
Brian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. So we're in a rare position now where Democrats have actually gone on offense. This thing is moving forward. We have the California map redraw is going to be on the ballot on November 4th. So we're down to the wire here. We've got 10 weeks to make the case to voters. And so first and foremost, from a messaging perspective, knowing that Republicans are going to go all in against this thing, how are you thinking about messaging this?
I think this is all about base turnout. It's about getting our voters out. This is going to be a very low turnout election. There are some municipal elections, but this is the only thing on the statewide ballot. So it's all like, this is not about persuading a bunch of swing voters who are already turning out and they're voting on the mayor, the comptroller, and a bunch of other state initiatives. This is just pure, if you care about this, turn out and vote. And so it's really, I think the big thing is it's not about what we say, it's to making sure that people hear and know it's on the ballot. So this is all about grabbing attention over the next 10 weeks.
How much of a concern do you think that the quote unquote good government folks, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the League of Women Voters, are going to pose? Kind of, I mean, like when I think about what they're doing in terms of opposing this move, it's kind of like looking at redistricting and gerrymandering in a vacuum, but we can't look at it in a vacuum because we have to look at it in response to what's happening in Texas, Missouri, Indiana, and Florida. But still, that doesn't seem enough to move these people who are only kind of looking at it with blinders on and recognizing what's happening in California. And so how much of an issue do you think that's going to pose?
I'm not sure it's going to be a gigantic issue because I find it hard to imagine that those people are going to be able to get people to turn out and vote explicitly just to vote against this. Now, there might be Republicans in the state who are going to turn out and vote for the same reason the Democrats will turn out and vote, which is you care about the outcome and the impact on the national House races. But I'm skeptical that people are going to be like, well, I don't like Trump. I don't like what's happening in Texas, but I'm so upset about the norm breaking that I'm going to turn out and vote in this election that for only this purpose. So I think this, John Favreau and I talked about this in Pod Save America last week. I think this actually models not like a typical ballot initiative in California, but like the abortion constitutional amendment in Ohio and Kentucky and elsewhere that we looked at, where it's the only thing on the ballot. It's the only reason people turn out. And my belief is if we can inform enough people about it, that our side will be much more fired up to do this.
How are you thinking about money here? And I ask for two reasons. One, the Republicans are going to look at this and say, all we have to do is defeat this thing in California. We don't have to spend money across the entire country. We just have to beat it in California, and they lose their most potent tool to be able to fight back against this gerrymandering effort. So all of the nation's money on the Republican side can go into the California race. But then on the Democratic side, we also know that Trump has been super willing to use the government to retaliate against people whose political ideology doesn't comport with his. And so I presume that these big money donors that usually fuel Democratic politics are going to be much more reticent to be able to get involved in this race, knowing that on the other side of this thing is the guy who wields the full muscle of the federal government and has been shown to be perfectly content to fight back against those people.
The Democratic Party, the grassroots Democratic Party has been pretty fired up in 2025. The donor community has been very reticent to invest their money. Some of that is fear about getting on the wrong side of Trump and facing some sort of extraordinary legal scrutiny, or, all of a sudden the IRS is in your business, whatever. But some of it also is frustration at the party after what happened in 2024. So a lot of progressive organizations that depend on the sort of over the too small community of really, really rich Democratic donors have been suffering in 2025 because they have not had that support. The people who were really funded the resistance over the first 8 years of Trump have backed away. And you can see that happening here. The good news is, for the same reason that Republicans are going to have to have all the national money, is that we can make a case to grassroots Democratic donors that your best investment right now for keeping the House is to help Gavin Newsom and California Democrats pass this initiative, redraw the seats, pick up 5 seats potentially, and protect 4 other seats. And the protecting the 4 toss-up seats is so critical because that will save the party $80 to $100 million in money that can now be spent to go target Republicans in other states.
Right. That's a great point. And I'll use this opportunity right now in the middle of this video to promote exactly that. I'm going to put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. Very important to contribute to this effort right now for all of the reasons that we're talking about. So keep an eye on that link. If you have any interest in donating, this is a great time to do so. Dan, how are you thinking about this in terms of the other governors now? Newsom, in my interview with him, when I spoke to him on Thursday, stressed the importance of not just kind of feeling complacent with the fact that California is fighting back, but also kind of trying to give a kick in the ass to these other governors who are saying the right things, but who thus far haven't really moved forward with any concrete steps in the same way that California has.
Look, if we're being totally honest here, we do not have the weapons the Republicans have in this fight. They have more states where they can draw the maps more aggressively to pick up more seats. Like that, they have Missouri, Florida can be incredibly aggressive if they choose to be. But everyone has to get involved, right? That means Illinois, right? There's a chance to pick up seats in Illinois. New York is, I think, quite challenging. There are legal and logistical reasons that make it hard. However, I will say, everyone said that about California, and Gavin Newsom figured it out. So I don't know whether there could be some creative thinking about ways to get this done in New York. Maryland, I certainly hope they will move forward. They really only have about one seat that they could possibly do, but we'll take that seat, right? The House has come down to 5 seats in multiple elections, so every single one is going to help. So what I really hope is that Gavin Newsom has sent a message that the water is warm. Come on in. You can do this. And I think the real sort of national acclaim and gratitude he's gotten from Democrats around the country after this announcement, I will hopefully encourage some of these folks to do the same.
Do you think that it offers something of a permission structure for these other governors who look, Democratic politicians are not generally like risk takers anyway. I mean, like you and I think can both agree that our party has a long history of sending out strongly worded letters and feeling like we've done something. Do you think that this is enough of a kick in the ass for these other governors, other state legislators to see that the reaction that Newsom is getting, the reaction that these California Democrats are getting, and want to join in?
Yeah, and I think also a lot of the names that I mentioned as governors are people thinking of running for president. Gavin Newsom is someone who was also likely to run for president. And so hopefully there's a little competition, whatever it takes, right? Whether it's he creates a permission structure, whether they want to get the same level of sort of attention he's getting, or they don't want to fall behind in the invisible primary for 2028. Right. Whatever reason it takes.
It doesn't need to be virtuous.
Yes, whatever the reason is, if it gets him to do it, great. Let's do it.
How are you thinking about the Texas Democrats here? Because there is some reporting that the Texas Democrats may be preparing to go back, and that they will look at their quorum break as not a movement to deprive these Texas Republicans of being able to pass their maps, but rather a way to get this into the zeitgeist in a way that refusing to do a quorum break wouldn't have. And so are you looking at this in terms of a success? Do you wish that they would have stayed longer? How are you thinking about the Texas Democrats?
I think there's no question that they raised attention for this, right? Like certainly them being in Illinois and being in New York puts pressure on and gives encouragement to and comfort to the governors there who we want to move. They've raised attention on. There's a point Newsom made to me when I talked to him for Pod Save America earlier this week. It was probably always unrealistic to think they would stay out of the state indefinitely. Right. There is they're stopping all legislative business in the state, including flood relief for the Hill Country. Yeah. And so ideally they would do it, stay till the end of the year and make it impossible for Abbott to do it. And that's probably too much to ask for them. But if they go back, I think it is fair to say that they help advance. They made it easier for Newsom to do this, and they've encouraged the other governors to do it. And they've raised awareness of it. So this was not a failed effort.
What was the most striking part of your interview with Newsom?
That he very clearly thinks that democracy is 100% on the line here. If there is a divide in our party between people who think this is an absolute existential hair on fire moment, and others who think it's bad, maybe very bad, but if we can survive the next 3.5 years,
right,
we'll be okay.
Within the context of politics as usual.
Yes, yeah. I think that so many Democratic politicians will tell you that this is an extraordinary moment, but their solution to the problem is ordinary politics. Yeah. And Newsom understands and I really think believes to his core that this is a hinge moment in American history and every option has to be on the table. And that came across very clearly. And it was highlighted by the fact that the ICE agents showed up outside of his press conference to just to try to intimidate people going out. Oh, and I would say one other thing that was incredibly shocking. A point he made that is quite alarming is that he believes that in the 2026 elections, or maybe even this election coming up, that the Trump administration will deploy these agents to be outside of polling places.
Yeah.
Right, to intimidate voters.
Yeah, which he has a track record of trying to do. But just on that last point, why don't other Democrats get it? Like the people who are super clued into politics, who are paying attention every day, who see the very obvious descent into autocracy like we see. All of these other people have insight into this stuff, just like Gavin Newsom does. And so why can't they meet this moment with the urgency that it deserves in the same way that he is? That's what I'm not understanding, because look, the governor of New York, like all of these other governors see the same info that he's seeing. They're all political junkies as well. And so if Newsom can see it, why aren't they meeting that same kind of like threshold as he is?
I think it's a different answer for different people. I think if we're being as generous as we possibly can, there's the reality of, like, particularly when you get to Democrats in Congress, there's limits to what they can do. Like, what does an extraordinary measure from House Democrats look like? It's Hakeem Jeffries speaking for 7 hours to delay the bill, but ultimately the bill is going to pass.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that part of it is that we do have and I am guilty of this, even though I should know better, because I worked in the Senate. I've been Senate leadership. I've been in that White House. I should know all this. We have expectations that are sometimes outsized for what Democrats can actually accomplish. But I think there's also a poverty of imagination, where it's just like, no one's ever been here before. They've never done this before. We don't know exactly what to do. Like the idea that a mass strike, or trying to put together the largest protest in American history, or shutting down the government, which is something Democrats never do, should be on the table. It's just like, I think people have struggled to wrap their mind around, even if they intellectually know this is really bad, they just don't have the mental capacity or the toolkit to fathom what the right response is, because we've never been at this point in American history.
Yeah, but to that point, I mean, it's time to get creative. It's time to think about whatever we can do in the same way that Republicans have been doing it for the last 10 years to make whatever they want to have happen. Like, they will change the rules as they go. Doesn't matter. They'll see through it to the end. So I think that it would behoove Democrats to start to get creative here. Highly recommend for everybody who's watching right now, if you are not yet subscribed to Pod Save America's YouTube channel, it's completely free to subscribe. I'm going to put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. Please help us elevate these voices, progressive voices, in this progressive media ecosystem. Again, link is right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. Dan, appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Great to talk to you.